Creativity gives rise to ideas. Ideas, when brought to life by innovative minds, give rise to change. Welcome to the inaugural ceremony of United Pragyan 21, powered by Autodesk and co-sponsored by Times Now, under the patronage of CEE Science. I take this opportunity to thank our English journal partner, Free Press Journal, our Kannada news partner, Bhattacharyya, our startup partner, the CEO magazine, and our online news partner, The Statesman, for their invaluable assistance. I wish a very good morning to the dignitaries, faculty, staff, students, and to all of you tuning in to this inaugural function. Born from the desire to celebrate technology in its true essence, Pragyan has come a long way. From its humble beginnings in 2005 to be South India's largest student run techno managerial organization, it has been a truly awe inspiring journey so far.
This year, Pragyan takes a step further as we delve into the Metaverse in the first ever virtual edition of the fest and is all set to enthrall, excite, and ignite the sense of wonder in all of you. A series of engrossing lectures, mind-boggling exhibitions, events, and enlightening workshops await you on the other side of the portal, which we shall now traverse together as we take our first steps into Pragyan 21.
Always there to lend a helping hand, he is the pillar of support that keeps us going strong. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. T. Shivashankar, the faculty advisor for Pragyan 21, who will now deliver the welcome address.
Very good morning to all. From the inception of Pragyan in 2005 till now, 16 years in between, directors have changed, avenues have changed, people heading different teams have changed, and the fest itself has evolved. But something that hasn't changed a bit throughout this journey is the spirit of those young minds for whom technology is not just a word, but a world in itself. This very indomitable spirit of excellence and perfection has carved Pragyan as NIT Trichy's very own ISO 9001 and ISO 20121 certified international techno managerial fest that garners laurels from distinguished personalities and organizations across this country. It is with great pleasure that I welcome to the inaugural ceremony of Pragyan 2021. The chief guest for today's ceremony is a decorated space roboticist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, who is known for driving the famous Mars rovers Curiosity and Perseverance. Let's welcome Dr. Vandana Verma. Welcome you, ma'am, on behalf of the Pragyan and NIT Tiruchirappalli. It is indeed a great pleasure to have among us such an accomplished woman in the field of space and science. I also welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Deepankar Bhattacharyya. Welcome you, sir, the current head of India Education Experience at Autodesk India. He has more than 25 years of experience in sales and business development with various multinational companies. I also extend a warm welcome to our beloved director, Dr. Minishaji Thomas. Thank you, ma'am, for supporting us throughout the celebration of technology in the 17th edition of Pragyan. I also welcome our Dean, Students Welfare, Dr. Kumar, and Associate Dean, Dr. Gerald, and Dr. Thamre Selvan, the Faculty Advisor, Pragyan 21. These two peoples will be joining offline. I also welcome our students, representatives of this Pragyan 21, the pillars of this Pragyan event, which has grown stronger from year to year. I welcome Kiran Mayaragan, Chairman of Pragyan 21, Vishnu Anil Kumar, Overall Coordinator of Pragyan 21, and Deva Kumar, the Treasurer of Pragyan 21. To my students, friends, and all the dignitaries gracing the inaugural ceremony online and offline of for this Pragyan 21, I welcome one and all. Being it Sunday, I thank once again all for joining this event and gracing our institute. That will motivate us and let us to grow this technology technofest in a bigger way. Thank you all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir, for those warm words of welcome. A critical factor in the success of an organization of a scale as large as Pragyan is a leader. Not just any leader, but one who knows how to bring forth the full potential in his team. We would like to welcome our driving force, the chairperson of Pragyan 21, Mr. Kiran Mayaragan, to showcase to us a glimpse of what Pragyan offers.
Rooted in 2005, the sampling of Pragyan has grown into a magnificent tree nurtured by 16 and continuing generations of NATTians. With a singular goal in mind, we've managed to reach and impact tens of thousands of enthusiastic and impressionable minds worldwide, and it only continues to grow. With that, and all my heart, I say, let's celebrate technology. Good morning to everyone tuning in. It's a pleasure to have you all. It has been quite a wait, and after 2 long years, Pragyan is back with its first virtual edition, the Metaverse. Pragyan continuously strives to inform students of the existing and emerging technologies. This is done through conducting various workshops to acquire and fine tune their skills, through events to bring out their competitive spirit, and guest lectures with renowned speakers like Dr. David Rates and Dr. B. N. Suresh. This year, Pragyan has expanded beyond its typical 4 days into a 2 week festivity that incorporates various activities, spreading awareness and celebrating technology in its various forms. Over the last couple of months, Pragyan contributed to various activities like the Young Techie initiative, which provided young minds with a stage to showcase their talent, as well as an opportunity to convert their ideas into viable products. Pragyan NIT Trichy has also received the patronage from the CEE and the SIAN, an empowerment organization known for engaging youth in environmental activities and sustainable development. The seventh edition of the Pragyan Hackathon was conducted virtually on the 16th and 17th of January 2021. Teams of three worked on domains that include the automotive sector, climate change, and women's safety to make an impact and solve problems. Pragyan virtually conducted its first inaugural edition of an design hackathon known as Fusion Hack in collaboration with Autodesk, an industry leader of this segment. Participants were required to use Fusion 360 software and work on CAD or PCB design. Sangam, the Intercollegiate Hardware Hackathon, and Ingenium, the Intercollegiate Technical Exhibition, were also conducted this year. The Pragyan blog has a wide audience who benefits from fascinating articles that are rich with knowledge and information. In an attempt to benefit the freshman batch, feel at ease with the transition from school to college life, Pragyan also dedicated a series of articles focusing exclusively on the life at NIT. The Pragyan podcast serves an entertaining repository of knowledge from varied fields and has featured many experts who are eager to share their insights on these intriguing topics. Recent topics of trend include startups, social media, and sustainable development. Pragyan values awareness of self-rights and believes in access to information for all. Keeping that in mind, we launched an initiative, iCitizen, to spread awareness about the numerous government services available to the general public. In an effort to guide the upcoming generation, a career guidance counseling session named Career Compass was also conducted. A number of webinars, exhibits, and live interview series like the Backstage and Processes were conducted to free the ever-growing curiosity and knowledge. We have many more exhibits, webinars, and exciting infotainment shows lined up for you this course of the Metaverse. Pragyan is everything I just mentioned, but above all, it's a celebration of technology dedicated to showcase its glorious splendor. For the first time, they've gone virtual, and it's been a challenge to recapture the grandeur, uniqueness, and pompousness of the yesteryears. Yet, we've worked arduously to overcome the obstacles and ensure Pragyan's return to the forefront. It has been a great pleasure working with my fellow team members at Team Pragyan, and over the next 2 weeks, you will witness the greatest edition of Pragyan ever conceived and given life. With this, I conclude my report on Pragyan. by expressing my gratitude to all those who have supported me throughout the course of Pragyan 21. It is our hope that all of you celebrate technology along with us over the course of the next 3 weeks. Wishing you all a very good morning again.
Thanks, Kiran. I now have the privilege of welcoming our chief guest, Dr. Vandana Verma, the chief engineer of the Robotics Operation Team at NASA, the brains behind the planning of the groundbreaking Mars Perseverance rover. Her brilliance in the field of robotics is remarkable. Dr. Verma joined NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory in 2007 with a special interest in robotics and flight software, and has been an active part of their Mars exploration rover projects since 2008. I would now like to invite Dr. Vandana Verma to grace the event with her inspiring words.
Thank you. Thank you for the kind introduction. I was asked to present some update on the Curiosity rover, so I have a little presentation that I thought I might give that might be interesting. So I'm assuming you can see the screen. Let me know if you can. Great. So I was going to talk about Mars Perseverance robotics. So there's many different aspects of the rover that I have worked on. And starting with talking about all of the locations, this image shows where missions from NASA have landed on Mars. And I'm going to talk about robotics and operations using examples from some of the missions that I've specifically been part of, which are, the Spirit and Opportunity rovers, the Curiosity rover, and Perseverance. This picture was taken in the NASA JPL Mars yard, and it shows a full-scale testbed for all of our Mars rovers. So there's in the front, you're seeing the smaller rover, in the left image in the front center, that's Sojourner. It's an Earth replica of Sojourner. And on the far left is Earth replica of the MER rover, Spirit and Opportunity. And in the center is Curiosity. And on the right is our current testbed for the Perseverance rover. In fact, just this week, we are mounting the robotic arm on it because this was still actually under development. And you're also seeing in the bottom there, the Earth replica of the Ingenuity Mars helicopter. And these, for scale, Curiosity is much taller than me, so they're the size of a little car. They're a fairly large rover. So Perseverance landed on Mars February 18th, this just recently. And our destination is Jezero crater. The scientists are really interested in going to Jezero after going through many different sites on Mars and looking at the science benefit. The reason for Jezero is that it's an ancient delta where water once flowed, and so the probability we'd find life is very high. And you can see, the excitement on landing there, and there I am. I was on the rover side, and there's a tradition at NASA JPL for every landing we have peanuts. They're lucky peanuts, so I'm holding them up there. And the image there that you see is from Mars, taken by the descent stage. On the top right, you're seeing an image of the sky crane lowering the rover on its bridles. And as the retro rockets are firing, you can see the Earth come up. And this was really exciting to see this image come down. I was, in the control room for the landing and for the first stall of operations. And the entry, descent, and landing is fairly autonomous and actually very, very similar to Curiosity's, with changes that allow us to navigate with respect to the terrain. But what's different is for the first time, we actually have images of this landing, which is going to help for the future. And it also helps communicate what the landing is like. So we landed at this spot in Jezero, shown on the right image. And you can see where our parachute ended up, where the descent stage, which is on the top right here, the descent stage ended up, and also where Perseverance and its heat shield ended up. So that is where we were at. So since we landed, the goal of the mission is to sort of execute a lot of the science. But when we start out, we have to ensure that all of our robotic systems are working as expected. And this is a movie composed of images taken on Mars, and that's me at the bottom right. That was the very first robotic motion we did, was a robotic arm on STOW. We have a lot of our mechanisms attached for launch, cruise, entry, descent, landing with special launch locks, and we fire pyros to release them. So it's very important, these steps we take initially. And you can see the first drive there in the center, and you're seeing some of the rover drivers. We're wearing our 3D glasses because to look at the terrain, we get stereo data from our cameras. If you're looking in monocular images, you can't actually look at this terrain. It looks fairly flat, but when you turn on the 3D glasses, you can really see there's a lot of ridges and undulations in it. And that's a picture of the robotic arm on the right, which is 2.1 meters. It's fairly long. There's operations in operating the rover, but really there's a lot of technology behind this and a huge team of people who work to build the rover and the software. And on the bottom right is a picture of all of the people who worked on the robotic arm and the sample caching algorithms and software. So that is the team. It's a picture we took after we delivered the first major software release with everything in 2018. And since then, we've continued to work on it. In fact, we're working on the subsequent version that'll be on Perseverance later this year. So we continue to add new capabilities. Going on to the next, let's see. So because of the distance between Earth and Mars, we don't really drive the rovers in real time. It takes anywhere from 4 to 20 minutes, over 24 minutes, for a signal to get from Earth to Mars one way, which we call the one-way light time. But you actually have to wait for the return to know what happened. So that would make it very difficult if we send one command at a time. And this changes depending on where Earth and Mars are. So we use the deep space antennas. There's one in Australia and one in the US and one in Spain to send the commands to the rover. And then there's so much data that we collect. And in fact, Perseverance has incredible cameras. We can take so much data. We have to use the orbiters around Mars to transmit the data to the orbiters, and then we get it down via those orbiters to the deep space network. So we actually uplink all of the commands for us all. And here I'm showing what the tactical rover planning, as we call it, looks like. So on the top left is an image showing the data that comes down. And that's a picture from Curiosity, because we don't have publicly released images yet of the Perseverance side for it. And then on the bottom, in the left middle, you're seeing all of the scientists who would have a discussion to decide, what do we do next? Typically, there's 400 scientists from all over the world. They're entirely remote for Perseverance due to the pandemic. So the entire team is virtual. And then on the bottom left, you're seeing, me there. We're on lab because we use specialized tools and socially distanced. You can see the other rover driver is like socially distanced, and we have the entire facility updated for these very special times. And on the right, you're seeing a drive. This is one of the recent drives that I did, where the helicopter is actually attached to the rover. You're seeing it, the small image of it there, because that's where we knew we were driving to the airfield to deploy it. And the images, this is an actual image from Mars. We'll get back, and you can actually look at it in stereo. Here, you'd need specialized glasses, so I'm putting a flat image. But we also need to look at the meshes. And when you look at the bottom middle image, there's a lot of missing data. And that's really important when you're driving to know where the real data is. We also use orbital meshes, which is on the bottom right, but those are at a much lower resolution. So this is all the data we take into account. We do a lot of simulations and simulate the commands and go through it in quite a bit of detail. And we uplink the entire drive to the rover. This is showing a segment of it. And then we go home on Mars time to sleep, and the rover executes it, and we come back the next day. And that's how you drive. So you have to think of all of the things that could possibly go wrong. So I wanted to show you where Perseverance is today. Today is Sol 37 on Mars. In fact, operations is continuing. This is some of the images, and I'm partial to the drives that I've done, some attaching images. So some of the things we've done. So we drove to a location and we deployed our belly pan. You can see that flat structure there. And then the other structure, which is more of a tub shape, is the shield, pebble shield that was protecting the Mars helicopter. So you can see the Mars helicopter now under the rover. These images are actually taken by the robotic arm. We deploy it in front of the rover, and we have a imager at the end of the robotic arm that we use to take these images. So you're deploying the robotic arm in close proximity with the surface to take these images. So we deployed the belly pan and the debris shield, as you can see in the top right image, and we drove away, and we've selected an airfield for the helicopter to fly. And it had some special requirements, and many of us met as soon as we started landing to find a location. And actually, we found one fairly close to landing. So we are right now dead in the center of the helicopter deployment location. And this is a picture. Actually, this is another stall I was on just day before, where we took a picture with the robotic arm off the location we're going to drop off the helicopter. So that's currently where we are. And we have now released the launch locks and are getting ready for the helicopter. So the next steps will be the Mars Ingenuity helicopter phase. This is the first time that we will be doing powered flight on Mars. And this is a technology demonstration. So it doesn't have science payload on it, but it's a way for us to understand, could aerial missions like this be possible in the future? Because Mars has such a thin atmosphere. It's 1% of the atmosphere on Earth. So we've done a lot of tests on Earth, and we've built a rotorcraft that spins its blade so fast so that it can fly in the Mars atmosphere. But there's only that much testing you can do on Earth. So here we are on Mars, getting ready for these flights. So this shows some of the flights that we'll be doing on Mars. It has cameras and it'll do its navigation. But the helicopter has the same constraints that we have with the rover, which is that we can't control it in real time because of the huge distance between Earth and Mars. So the helicopter team is going to be sending commands for the entire flight, and then the helicopter will do the closed loop control autonomously. So this is a very exciting phase, and we're getting ready for the critical deployment, because the rover has to deploy the helicopter and then drive away to unchain its solar panels. Otherwise, the helicopter will die. After we finish the helicopter flights and that part of the mission, we're going to continue on for the really main focus of the mission we were here, which is the science that the Perseverance will do. It's going to understand the geology, the astrobiology, and it also has these sample tubes where we're collecting intact cores from a variety of different locations. And for the first time, we're actually going to bring back samples to Earth with a subsequent mission. And that's expected to come back in the 2030s. We also have some experiments we are doing to pave the way for astronauts. We have sort of MOXIE, which is going to do experiments. It's another technology demonstration to generate in situ oxygen. And on the bottom right, I'm showing a picture of engineers installing, before we launched, the sample tubes, which had very stringent requirements for cleanliness to ensure that we would collect representative samples from Mars. So that's a very exciting phase of the mission. Where we're really trying to go in Jezero is to this delta, because like places on Earth, there was water here. And if there's a place we're going to find has signs of life, very likely it's going to be here. So the next step is to traverse to the delta. And we have already started planning strategic paths to it. And there's a lot of discussions with the scientists as to which path that would be more interesting, because they're interested in doing science along the way. And so we're going to get to the delta, we're going to climb onto the delta, and then go off of it and do a lot of observations and collect cores all the way, and then climb out of the crater rim and continue exploring. Here is an image, which is more of an artist's conception, because we aren't at the delta yet, showing the scale of the rover with respect to the delta walls. So it's fairly large scale, the delta. As we go, we experience so many things along the way, and I wanted to pick up some examples from past missions, since the students were asking even recently, like, what do you take from past missions and what is expected? So here's an example from Curiosity of Dingo Gap. Shortly after we landed, we started to see wheel wear, where the wheels on Curiosity were starting to wear because we were finding these very interesting rocks. They're ventifacts that are of very material that is very hard and had a particular shape that caused wear on our wheels. In order to avoid this, while still continuing on to go to Mount Sharp in Gale Crater, which is where Curiosity is, we decided we wanted to cross over this dune to get to some more benign terrain. We were able to do this because we had anticipated the possibility that we would need to navigate in terrain where the rover would have wheels that would lose traction and have a lot of slip. So we have technology called visual odometry, where if you're just going by the encoders on your motor, when they're slipping, they'll turn, but instead of moving forward, they're digging deeper. And on board, you can't tell the difference. In order to do that, we take one image. On the left, you're seeing an image. And if you look at this rock here, after we command a certain drive, we expect that to have moved backward from the direction we're driving. And so we use computer vision techniques to use visually odometry to do this. And this is showing the visual odometry images as we drove over Dingo Gap and into Moonlight Valley into benign terrain. So you anticipate the challenges you'd encounter, build in technology that allows you to overcome those. We also upgraded the wheels and changed the design of it. They're thicker, but also the Grouser pattern was a chevron pattern, which had points at which it met, which caused a weakness. So the wheels have more of a wave design on the Grousers, which actually helps with traction, but they are less susceptible to those stress points. Another example is Maria's Pass, where on the bottom left, I'm showing an image as Curiosity climbed up to this point, and this is the picture that the rover took from there. The scientists were so excited because contacts on Mars are really interesting. Contacts between two different geologic units often have a lot of history, Martian history in them. This was the contact between the Murray and Stimson Formation. There was a lot of haste in trying to get there because conjunction was coming. Conjunction is where the sun gets between Earth and Mars and we can't talk to the rover for a little while. They wanted to get these images, and we did make it across the area and got this science observation on this target called Missoula and got the data down of the drive and everything. During conjunction, while we were studying that data, one of these rocks, which looks very benign, elk, when we looked at this higher resolution remote microimager data, this is a very high resolution image taken. There were some very interesting signatures on it. So interesting that the scientists were like, we want to go back. So we drove all the way back and ended up drilling at that location. And as you could see very distinctly, we found silica, which was very interesting. But it also means that you can miss things if you are driving and don't want to wait for the data to come down because we have so much data. So there's new technology, and this is technology that I was part of developing as well, and we've enhanced it for Perseverance. And this I'm showing the version we have on Perseverance, where we can autonomously, as we are driving, take a wide angle image. In fact, we can retrieve any of the images the rover has taken, and then we detect in it autonomously on board interesting targets. It does feature extraction, uses machine learning and intelligence algorithms to say, what did the scientists say was interesting? Find out the shape, size, albedo, various characteristics of those rocks. And then they can also specify, at the moment, they can say, we're not interested in rocks below a certain size. And it does 3D estimation. It can filter those. It can prioritize those. And then it can set a target frame on it. And you can take various observations, one of them being taking high resolution imaging. But we also have a laser on the rover which can take remote observations and which we use with this algorithm to shoot at the target, and the plasma that comes out you can study the chemistry and mineralogy of it. And on Perseverance, we have a microphone. So when we zap it with the laser, there is sound that comes that really helps to get measurements of how hard and various other properties of the rocks as well. So this requires such precision, and mechanical systems have error in them. So we actually have this closed loop control where we find the target based on the intelligent algorithm, but we also then take a subframe around it, and we can visually control our targeting to it to take the science observations. And this shows some of the observations that we've taken with that technology, where you can see an image where they would have been mostly sand, and if you just blindly target it, the chances of finding an interesting target are low. But it autonomously finds the target that you can see it has outlined, and then in green is the highest priority target, and takes the measurements autonomously. So as you're driving along, it can continue to find things that we on Earth wouldn't have been able to see in such detail, take science observations, and then continue driving. So we make faster progress. So that is some of the examples, and there are many more, but I thought, I'd just give you an example of a few of the cases. So that's all I had that I was going to talk about.
Thank you, ma'am. That was truly an unforgettable experience. Running a student-only organization with such efficiency is no easy feat. Helping achieve this goal is a mentor who is always there for guidance, a motivator who silently works behind the scenes, ensuring the smooth running of the fest. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Dean of Students' Welfare, Dr. N. Kumar, as he delivers the student address.
Sir, you are on mute.
Yeah, very good morning to everyone. In this age where technology is the engine fueling the entire world, I am profoundly delighted to welcome Honorable Chief Guest, Dr. Vandana Verma, NASA Jet Propulsion Scientist, our beloved Director, Dr. Mini Saji Thomas, Mr. Deepankar, Guest of Honor, my colleagues, student friends in this virtual inauguration ceremony of the 17th edition of Pragyan. I join with Dr. Shivashankar, Faculty Advisor, and Kiran, Chairperson Pragyan 2021 team, in welcoming each and everyone gathered in the virtual mode. Exactly a year back, that is March 2020, I still recall the emotional situation when NIT Tiruchirappalli administration, out of compulsion and for the safety of everyone, asked Pragyan 2020 team to cancel the event and requested not to conduct the events in offline mode. Students involved in the preparation of Pragyan 2020 were very emotional and, of course, virtually started weeping. We, myself, director, my associate deans, faculty advisor, SAS officers understood their pain, emotion, more so the commitment to showcase their involvement and talent. Somehow we consoled and made them to understand the situation. As a Dean Students Welfare, I am extremely sorry for making Pragyan 2020 team unhappy. Even the reason was the COVID-19 pandemic situation. When Pragyan 2021 team approached us to have this inaugural event, I have asked them to arrange in hybrid mode. That is, few of us will physically available in the barn hall. After the team made all arrangements, once again, this was cancelled. This is due to the fact that there is a rise in the COVID cases reported nationally and locally. Also, the Tiruchirappalli district health officials have expressed that strict and vigil precautionary measures have to be followed to protect from the inspection, especially in the residential campus like ours. Sorry, Pragyan 2021 team for this. Of course, the slogan or caption of Pragyan is "Let's celebrate technology." In addition, change is the only permanent thing in this world. So, as a premier technical institution, NIT Tiruchirappalli accept for any change and we strong in implementing the technology. Hence, whatever be the hurdles, be it the COVID-19 pandemic situation or something else, we make all our efforts so that our routine work will go smoothly. At this juncture, I thank each and everyone supported or contributed for taking forward of all the activities of our institute. Coming to Pragyan, it always gives me immense pleasure to witness the splendor that a collective effort of students can bring about. A magnificent celebration of science and technology, Pragyan has always stayed true to its motto. This year, we have a total of 20 events divided in 9 clusters for which students from all over the world are invited to participate. As we are here for the final shutdown, I recollect the journey that the fest has withstood even in this year of turmoil while spreading awareness and helping the society grow at the same time. In this, various social responsibility events played a vital role. The diversity of fields that Pragyan presents through its various events, exhibitions, webinars is truly commendable. Space Week is one of the very successful events that I would like to cite here. Organized last September, it brought a plethora of interesting events like Space Labyrinth and Cosmic Canvas. This January 2021, Pragyan Hackathon was conducted virtually. In an enriching experience, students from all around the country brainstormed to find technology-equipped solutions in the domains like automatic sectors, climate change, and human safety. These are few of the instances how our students endeavors to leave a positive impact. Therefore, it is not surprising that for the 4th time in a row, Pragyan has received patronage from the South Asia Youth Environmental Network under the Center for Environmental Education in SOT, CEE Siam, and an empowerment organization known for engaging today's youth in environmental activities and sustainable development. With this, I would like to wish the members of the team Pragyan 2021 all the very best. The upcoming days are the final showcase of a year of the efforts. And as the Dean of Students' Welfare, there is no bigger happiness for me than seeing my students pioneer an international organization to its zenith. Keep innovating and let's celebrate technology. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those words of guidance and inspiration. Pragyan is a place where leaders are born, sculpted, and given the chance to prove their worth. Bearing the responsibility of something so immense is no light task. Every year, we are humbled and grateful when we receive the complete trust and support of our very own director. We would like to welcome our director, Dr. Minish Shaji Thomas, to deliver the presidential address.
Good morning, good evening. It's greetings from NIT Trichy. Thank you for joining us live from different parts of the world. I welcome and thank our chief guest of today's inauguration, Dr. Vandana Verma, from NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, known for her work on the Curiosity and Perseverance rovers. Thank you so much for taking time out and talking to our students. It was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much, Dr. Vandana. I would also like to welcome Mr. Deepankar Bhattacharyya, Head of Education Experience at Autodesk India. Also Dr. Kumar, Dr. Gerald, and all others. Kiran, Vishnu, and the team of coordinators and volunteers and all who are watching this. Very good morning. I still remember, as Dr. Kumareshan said, the hard decision we had to take last year of cancelling Pragyan. I still remember Ram and his team, very upset. And I was very confident that we'll be able to do it, but then it was scary. And I think we took the decision around 10th March, and when Pragyan was just 5 days away, to cancel the event. But then it turned out to be a good decision because, the pandemic just raged after that in India too. But I'm glad and I congratulate the Pragyan team 2021 for coming out with online events and making completely online Pragyan. I would also like to say that the institute as such, although we were taken by surprise, with the help of everyone, we could successfully sail through the pandemic and show that, our resilience, everybody has so much of resilience, and resilience turned out to be, the key word, and we could survive the pandemic. And I would like to cite some examples and honors we received during the pandemic to show that we are up to date and we have been able to sail through the pandemic, and which has taught us many experiences, given us many experiences. For example, in the India rankings, NIRF, we retained our top position among NITs 5th year in a row, and we moved from 10th position to 9th this year. So in 2020, so this is a great moral booster for us, and all our parameters in the NIRF ranking improved this year. Also, during the pandemic, we were made part of the National Supercomputing Mission of Government of India, and the supercomputer racks have already arrived with an investment of 19 crores. Soon we will have the supercomputer, which we have named it as Param Purul. Also, we have been chosen by the National Research Development Corporation as an Innovation Facilitation Center. And we inaugurated new centers of artificial intelligence, IoT, and intelligent machines, and a few more centers are being commissioned. We have invested around 300 crores during the last 3 years to promote interdisciplinary research. And we also got inducted into the Prime Minister's Research Fellowship Scheme, which is to support PhD scholars with more research funding and contingency. So we have been able to sail through, and I'm sure with everybody moving on to online platforms, I'm glad NASA is also, as Dr. Verma discussed, with all COVID precautions, they were able to launch and successfully land the rovers in Mars. Coming to Pragyan, staying true to his motto to celebrate technology, and I still remember the days last 3 years where I used to look forward to Pragyan because there was so much of activity. I used to love Sangam, our exhibition of the new projects by students and all the guest lectures and the techno shows, etc., etc. This Pragyan also, I'm told, promises to take the same incredible experience online as we all adjust to the new normal. So Pragyan has seen a resurrection from last year, bringing together the best minds from across the world through various guest lectures and workshops. And this provides a platform because travel, you need not travel. So we also have been able to do much more virtually than people traveling and coming to the campus. So to dedicate yourself to an idea bigger than yourself is a tremendous step forward, and I'm glad that we decided to go live this time. So it is this very set of dedicated students that has propelled Pragyan to the greater heights. So I congratulate all of them. The carpet has been rolled out to cherish our journey so far in science and technology, and to look back on the staggering list of inventions and discoveries of the next 2 weeks when Pragyan is conducted online. And as the nation recovers from the pandemic, although a second wave is on, I think we are more equipped to face it now. A new dawn is awaiting us with the vaccination drive going full swing across the world with new challenges and opportunities to tackle. Let me conclude with a thought by Nelson Mandela. It always seems impossible until it is done. So let's do it. Let's celebrate technology. Best wishes to the team. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your never-ending support and guidance. I now welcome our guest of honor, Mr. Deepankar Bhattacharyya, the Head of Education at Autodesk India. A mechanical engineer from NIT Warangal, he has more than 25 years of experience in sales and business development. Under his leadership, Autodesk has been able to establish itself as a thought leader in the academic space.
Let's go.
Without further ado, I would like to hand the virtual dais over to Mr. Deepankar to enlighten us with his words of inspiration.
Yeah, thank you, and good morning and good evening to everyone. And it's an honor to be presenting at the inauguration ceremony of Pragyan 2021. It's always a pleasure interacting with this august audience. And on behalf of Autodesk India, I would like to thank all the student organizers for inviting me for this session, for giving us an opportunity to be associated with Pragyan. And I'd also like to thank the director, the dean, and other other dignitaries from NIT Trichy for having invited us for this inauguration ceremony. With that, what I will quickly do is I'll quickly share my screen and can you see my screen? Can you see?
Sir, yes, sir.
Okay. Is the broadcast people will be able to see, because should be okay? Okay, fine. If you are able to see, then I will continue. What I will quickly do in the next maybe 10 to 12 minutes is quickly share our theme. Like you mentioned, you saw the video on Autodesk, which is basically talking about make anything, and my entire theme of my presentation is on the future of making, and what we specifically Autodesk in education is really really focusing on. As all of you may be knowing, we are a company headquartered in San Francisco, and we have offices in about 80 countries. And I am based in the Bangalore office, responsible for driving the Autodesk education initiatives for India and the ASEAN market, predominantly India and Singapore. So let me start off with a quote, which is by Tim Brown, CEO of IDEO, one of the the leaders in design thinking. So let me read out this quote. The mission of design thinking is to translate observation into insights, and insights into products and services that will improve lives. Okay. So why I took this quote is, this is exactly what Autodesk as a technology leader is looking at. We work with a broad spectrum of customers across different industries and enable them with our technologies to develop products and services that will improve lives. Okay, so I'm going to share more details as I move through in my presentation. So, but before I do that, I just wanted to give a very high-level overview of the skills gap that is there today worldwide. So if you look at, this is the year that has gone by end of 2020, end of last year, in the developed or the advanced economies, about 95 million is the skills gap, specifically in the industries that Autodesk works with. Okay, so this is a pretty huge number, and why I'm mentioning this is, I will be able to relate it in the subsequent slides. Why skills gap is important and what Autodesk is doing from an education perspective to fulfill the skills gap. Now, if I look at the US market and specifically on manufacturing jobs that will be unfilled in the next 10 years, it's a pretty huge number. It's 24 lakhs or 2.4 million is that number. And then if you get into other developed economies like UK, the skills shortfall per year is about 110,000. And now let me quickly come to India. Now, this data I culled out from the NSDC website. I'm sure all of you know about the National Skills Development. So if you look at the manufacturing skills gap in terms of various job roles in manufacturing, by 2022, this number is estimated to be about 90 million. So, and this is twice the skills gap that is prevailing today. Okay, so 90 million is a large number in terms of the manufacturing skills gap for various, various job roles related to manufacturing. Now, I just wanted to throw some light. I'm sure a large percentage of the audience today would be from mechanical and related disciplines. I know other disciplines are there. But I wanted to spend 1 or 2 minutes on how mechanical engineering skill sets are evolving. Now, if you look at this slide, on the left, we have the foundational educational curriculum, which has the standard design, drafting, and other traditional foundational curriculum for mechanical engineering. Okay? So that's the curriculum on the right. There are added needs that come from the industry in terms of certain specific skill sets that the industry is looking at on for emerging roles. And this is what I have mentioned on the right. Things like generative design, things like system engineering, design for manufacturing, embedded electronics, and so on and so forth. So ideally, we have the foundational skills through institutes like NIT and other institutes across the country. Coupled with that, I think it's important for education institutions, especially institutes of national importance like NIT, to embed the skill sets required for specific job roles, what the industry is looking at. Okay, so the industry is today demanding engineers that can rapidly design smart products and also manufacture smart products. Okay, and that is where things like generative design and other areas that I mentioned on the right would come into play. The other thing that I wanted to touch upon was that 80% of the skills trained in the last 50 years can be outperformed now by machines, and this is purely because of automation. Okay? Because of automation, a lot of existing job roles are getting redundant. Okay, but there is a huge opportunity in front of us. Okay, and the opportunity that is in front of us is that while older job roles are getting redundant, that the newer job roles that are coming into the market, and that is where the industry needs specialized talent. Okay, and that is where Autodesk can partner with education institutions to look at curriculum 4.0 relating to industry 4.0. And these are some examples that I mentioned here: design for manufacturing, artificial intelligence, okay, with workflows like generative design. When I talk of design for manufacturing, we're talking about enabling students to create designs that have better manufacturability and lower product life cycle costs. Similarly, systems engineering, personalized learning pathways, and cloud product data management. So the entire philosophy of cloud is becoming very, very important today, especially during this last 1 year when the pandemic has hit us, where everybody has to work remotely and collaboratively. Okay? So Autodesk as a company is today focusing on the latest cloud technologies. We have technologies like Fusion 360. I think Kiran mentioned in his inaugural address about Fusion Hackathon, which we conducted as a part of Pragyan 2021, where we had more than 60 teams and 120 students participating. And in this inaugural session, we'll be announcing the winners for this competition. So cloud is really a brilliant platform, because you don't need a hardware platform which is very high end. The processing is happening on the server on the main cloud, and then you just need a very low, you don't need a high-end hardware device. It's a very good platform for collaborative and remotely working together. So cloud is definitely the future. So as I move forward, the other thing which I wanted to look at is that I mentioned about the challenges, I mentioned about the opportunities, the emerging roles. There is another very, very important factor, is the retiring workforce. Okay, the retiring workforce is creating a void in the industries today, because this retiring workforce is the skilled workforce that are retiring now and over the period of the next, as things progress. So how can we fill in this void is the big question before us. Okay, and I'm going to throw a number of 2.52 billion. This is the number which is of people who are born after 1995. And this is what I call the next generation, or the generation Z, which and a large percentage of this, what is available in an emerging economy like India, who are here and who are attending the session today, and who will be graduating, who are our future designers and engineers. So there is a big opportunity in front of them in fulfilling the emerging roles that the industry is looking at. So that was the context. Why skills gap? What is the skills gap? What are the implications, and how Autodesk can fulfill for those emerging roles? I'm quickly going to end my presentation on just relating on what we are doing, especially in higher education. We are offering our software, which is starting our cloud-based software of Fusion 360, and all our other professional software absolutely free of cost to education institutions. Coupled with that, we are offering a library of our curriculum. We have a portal called the Design Academy. We are investing in training and professional development of the students. And last but not the least, we do have certification and credentialing program, which is available for most of our professional products. So this is in a nutshell what we are offering in higher education for the education institutions. Just briefly on the industries that I am covering, I mentioned in my first slide about 95 million skills gap shortage, and these are specifically in these industries, which is the manufacturing industry, the infrastructure industry, the building industry, and then we have the media and entertainment industry. These are the 4 key industries that Autodesk is focusing on. I just wanted to give you a heads up that we in India are working with the top government bodies, the academic institutions, the engineering institutions across the education ecosystem, both in 4-year and in 2-year vocational institutions. We work very closely with the government. We have been associated with the Smart India Hackathons in last year, which is one of the world's biggest open innovation platform. And I wanted to end my presentation with some of the brilliant work that the students are doing. Now, these are 2 projects, which is a roverboat on the left and a quadcopter on the right, done by students using Autodesk technologies, using concepts like generative design from the Dayanand Sagar University in Bangalore. And then these are 2 projects. These are industry projects, one between Fiat Chrysler and IIT Madras. This is the lower control arm for their vehicle Jeep Compass, which is done using Autodesk technologies, again with a 30% weight reduction. This is currently in pilot stage and likely to be tested on the actual vehicle very shortly. And on the left, we have Signet International Industry in Kolhapur, near Kolhapur in Maharashtra, and SIT, Sharad Institute of Technology in Kolhapur, which is it's a machine tool assembly for jigs and fixtures. It's an SPM machine, special purpose machine, which is 88% lighter and 20% stronger, which is called the SPM fixture. Now, these are projects of social impact or social importance. This on the left, we have MNIT Jaipur students designing what we call a club foot, which is a real-life solution for people who are affected by polio. And then on the right, this is a project which has been done by the Indian School of Design and Innovation for one of the sports companies in Mumbai. And last but not the least, we have IIT Madras, which is the Mars rover competition, which they did last year. And then the VIT Vellore, where they participated in the SAE competition at end of 2019, all using Autodesk technologies. So a brief snapshot of what we are doing using Autodesk technologies. So as Autodesk as a technology leader, we are very happy to be associated with NIT Trichy, with the students, faculty, and the senior leadership of NIT Trichy. We are very keen to collaborate strongly and have a partnership and an engagement with NIT Trichy. And we are here to inspire, engage, and prepare the next generation of designers and engineers. Thank you very much and have a great day ahead.
Thank you, sir, for those words of wisdom. With great pride, we now announce the results of the Fusion Hack, the Pragyan Design Hackathon, conducted with the able support of Autodesk. Third place goes to Team Nachal, Naveen R, Chandru P, Advant D. Second place goes to Team Citic, K. Sivaprasad and T. Karthik. First place goes to Team ARM, Arush Maidan and Zerin Zeus.
The success of Pragyan depends entirely on the efforts put in by its 800 plus organizers. Being the nuclear force that binds us all together in an unbreakable bond, this man is the reason for the cohesiveness and the integrity of the team. We would like to invite the overall coordinator of Pragyan 21, Mr. Vishnu and Kumar, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Good morning, everyone. Pragyan 21 is special for all of us. Conducting it on a par with the previous edition make it an even successful one. As we come towards the end of the inauguration, there are people I would like to express my gratitude to. Without them, this year's challenge wouldn't have been easy to handle. First, I would like to thank Dr. Mini Shaji Thomas, our director, whose support has been crucial in conducting this edition of Fest. I thank our chief guest, Dr. Vandana Verma, Chief Engineer of Robotics Operation, NASA, for inspiring us with her words. I would like to thank our guest of honor, Mr. Deepankar Bhattacharyya, Autodesk Education Head, for his presence and support. I express my gratitude to Dr. Tishu Shankar, Faculty Advisor, for being optimistic and guiding us throughout. Further, I thank Dr. N. Kumaresan, Dean Student Welfare, for his valuable inputs that have helped us bring in this edition. This edition of Pragyan 21 has shown that all the organizers as a team can always succeed despite challenges. And definitely, none of this could be possible without the chairman, Kiran, the treasurer, Deva, and all the respective team heads and the team members. It is a team effort that has paid off, even in these testing times, keeping Pragyan afloat. Additionally, with each iteration, Pragyan evolves to become better than ever because the previous executive committee members ensure that they provide the new core with invaluable insights gained during their tenure. I would like to thank Ram Sundaram, Sudarshan, and Deepak, the executive core of Pragyan 20, for their guidance in helping shape Pragyan 21 and the Metaverse.
Thank you, Vishnu. Ladies and gentlemen, with that, we come to the closure of the inauguration ceremony of Pragyan 21. But this was just our first step into the world of Pragyan. Get ready to witness wonder, marvels, and everything in between in this edition of Pragyan. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we hope to see your active participation during the fest.